for our M&A services in Detroit. So I want to welcome you. I'll be moderating the panel. In a few minutes, I will allow for some introductions here as well. I thought I'd start with some level setting or some intros here in terms of what we want to accomplish today. Obviously, our topic is investments in M&A, media, entertainment, technology, broadband, social networks, mobile gaming. I might as well just say everything. We've covered it all. So hopefully, we've got 5 new speakers here, panelists, and I think they're going to be impressed with the level of discussion on these topics. But I thought I'd do some intro and lead into our session here, and then do a shameless plug for one of our marketing pieces that we're putting out, a research piece. And so Deloitte puts out a digital democracy survey every year, and it is a survey of about 2,000 or so respondents who are broad spectrum across broad demographics and also geography. So it's not only U.S. but it's international as well. And we use that piece to gain insights into the telecommunications media sectors and really focused on particular media consumption patterns. And so I'll start with some of the observations that we have in there. The piece covers probably it's in totality 1,000 different questions and topics and areas. It's our 9th year of doing it, so we've got a good history and trend that we're seeing. But I'll hit sort of 4 topics that I thought were sort of relevant to our topic this morning, really interesting to this group. And some of them might be, something that you're already familiar with, but some of them also might set the stage for the discussions that we're having here. And so one of the observations in our survey that we've done now is the increasing importance of broadband to our consumers. And so if you ask our consumers, what is the #1 service that they subscribe to? What is it they can't live without? What is it that they would be willing to give up? Their coffee habit, or Starbucks habit before. That's broadband connection, both wired to the home and wireless, and increasingly wireless. And so you see, we saw recently a $40 billion auction going on for additional spectrum. And so that wireless segment is important. We all want to be connected all the time. And so that's one of the major trends that underlies the investment phenomenon that we're talking about here. The second is the devices. So you have the technology of devices going on, and all of us are moving into a device world. Almost every person here probably has their smartphone, and so the combination of the connectivity and the devices is creating an enormous demand in other services, and I'll get into that next. And we have a concept we call digital omnivore. So digital omnivore is a group of people who would be not only a smartphone user, but a tablet user, a laptop user, and probably many devices in their household. So let's go out and then look here and say, okay, how many people in this room, by show of hands, are digital omnivores under Deloitte? And so expect nothing less in this particular group. This study will tell you that we're still not the majority of the folks, but we're pretty damn close. And so that's a pretty big move from even a few years ago when less than 10% of the population fell into the digital omnivore segment. So that fuels the demand for, what are we going to do with these devices? What do we do with all this connectivity? And the 3 biggest areas, very logical to the topics we're talking about here, is the demand for entertainment and more video. So video is kind of the big thing that everybody wants. It's coming through in our studies. It's escalated each year and is a driver for a lot of other things. Social networking is the next area. So the second biggest thing we're looking for is social networking. And third thing, and doesn't get as much press, is gaming. So all of our respondents, or a good number of the respondents, are into the gaming area. And that's not only the market driven by consoles or console players that we have, but also now increasingly in mobile gaming environments. And it's really a new market as opposed to stealing from the old market. Within that market, we're seeing a lot of women who are using that. So they're predominant users of gaming on the mobile handset. All of that driving some other phenomena. So the last thing I'll say is that increasingly consumers are willing to give up some personal information. And we've always had a sense of personal information being given up for purposes of subsidizing through ads to give you free content. I think increasingly people are most interested in getting content that's directly at them. So they're willing to give up some of their personal information to drive content and video channels directly to them. And that underlies the concept of not necessarily disconnecting the board, but disconnecting from our traditional pay TV services and getting channel specific or multi-channel specific that you're interested in as a consumer. And the other concept is that in our survey we find that most of the folks would respond positively that they don't mind advertising as long as it's advertising specific to the area of interest for them. And so if your passion is golf, as I come to say, I'm happy to see commercials around golf and golf events and golf, whatever the topic might be. But I don't really want to see something else. And that's advertising that I'm opting into, I'm interested in, and I pay for a channel to get that. So those are some of the major things that we're seeing in our digital democracy. I thought I'd review that because I think it leads quite nicely into our topic of, well, so where do we see that going? Where are investments being made? Where is the M&A happening? What are the trends that companies and investors are taking advantage of what we're seeing out of the general trends that we're observing in our market information that we gather? So I think I'll step down next and spend a few minutes having each of the speakers introduce themselves, and then we'll start with some questions, and hopefully this gave us some initial thought of thinking. So maybe from left to right, we'll start with Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt Freeman. I'm a partner with Bain Capital, and I work on the operating side of the private equity firm, which means I work primarily on companies post-acquisition on enhancing value. And prior to Bain Capital, I spent a number of years at the Republic Group and at Omnicom Group on the media, digital, and advertising side of the business.
Okay, Urs.
Hello, I'm Urs. I run Bertelsmann's corporate venture fund called BDMI. Bertelsmann is a big media company, not that well known, but people know the divisions that they have. Penguin Random House is the book publishing division. RTL is our television division, which also owns Fremantle, so some of the features you might watch. And then also magazines and services as well. And we are a early-stage venture fund, $180 million, investing in 18 rounds in the media space. I think it's where we think we can kind of make a difference and have an edge. We are set up pretty much like a normal financial VC, so carry structure and behave pretty much like another financial VC would. And yeah, we also have a separate seed fund, and I co-invest with Scott.
Yes, Scott.
I'm Scott Levine. I'm a managing director of the Time Warner Investments. We do patent co-investors and kinds of growth. Time Warner Investments is a strategic venture group for Time Warner Inc. Time Warner owns Turner and Warner Brothers and HBO. Clearly a lot of disruption happening in the media space, virtual media space these days. So we look to make investments that we think both will be from a financial return, but also ones that would be of interest strategically to everyone partners. We spend a lot of time in video, I spend a lot of time in ad tech, a lot of time in gaming, next-gen web publishers. Investments that we think would give us a good edge in terms of cutting edge innovation that can also help out our business.
My name is Tuna Bolian, Senior Equity Analyst, Media and Entertainment at S&P Capital IQ. Responsible for overall broad media and entertainment coverage on the equity side, also overseeing the consumer discretionary sector coverage. I've been involved in the TFT space in various capacities, including private estate activities. For upwards of, I'd say 20 years. So I have to say that this is a very, very dynamic time to be following the industry, not the least of which is because of the shifts in media consumption. So presently our coverage spans the whole gamut of publicly traded media and entertainment companies across various market capitalizations. We interact a lot with company management, at the corporate level and also sometimes the kind of the regional levels. So we kind of get a pulse of what's really driving a lot of activity. A lot of these firms have, outposts, corporate VC firms. So we're kind of keep an eye on the M&A trends and try to get a sense of, the disparities or any kind of relationships between public and private valuations. So that's kind of, what we do.
Good morning, Paul Whitman. I'm Managing Director of Peter K. Solomon Company. We're an investment bank focused on mergers and acquisitions advisory. That means we represent companies on the buy side as well as companies on the sell side. Meaning we help companies buy companies and we help companies sell themselves or sell divisions. We have a significant tech media effort. I spend most of my time on media outside of the home. I've been doing that for the last probably 7 years. Although spending time there maybe the last 15. You might say, well, why do you want to spend time in media outside the home? Believe it or not, 75% of our waking hours are spent outside the home. And with mobile media consumption outside the home is becoming more and more important. So we're very focused on associating ourselves with companies that spend time outside of the home. We also do cover media companies, though, that provide services within the home, but really are liking outside the home, companies outside the home.
Great. All right, thanks for the introductions. And you see we have a good mix of investment bankers, analysts covered, and investment covered, so direct investment covered. So maybe I'll start with our analysts. Tuna, I did a couple of other little topics that we've seen in our own surveys, and we generally see as trends, increasing use, increasing the video, increasing to designated channels or interest in multi-channel network. What are you seeing as sort of the macro trends as well, and that are driving some of the investment behavior?
Well, I think you have to single out the main driver that we see. I think it's over the top. Over the top, online video programming. A lot of companies have become sensitized to the potential threats that over the top, delivering companies like Netflix, Google, and Amazon, and then you got a whole bunch of upstart players. The cable industry, the basic industry has anticipated some of these trends and they've tried to introduce TV everywhere as a potential defensive weapon. But the jury's still out whether the threats from over the top are going to be contained. Now, I think there's a lot that's being made about cord cutting. Basically millennial viewers dropping pay TV subscriptions. I think that highlighted the potential risks and opportunities as well from over the top. So over the last month or two, we've heard major announcements from companies like HBO or ESPN that have decided that the shift in media consumption warrants taking a lot of this content direct to consumers as a standalone offering. CBS, Unity. I think the most important element of that is the idea to have sports networks actually as part of the package that is being offered, which is arguably the most expensive type of programming out there. So when ESPN and NBA, for example, decide to launch an over-the-top offering, or when Disney decides to make ESPN part of the Dish Sling package, we think that's really a watershed moment for the industry. As an analyst, I have to look at that and say, what does that mean for the industry, and how do companies confront the challenges of monetizing this over-the-top, which is what just about every company is kind of wrestling with. So we've seen an emergence of various kinds of models. The subscription models have tended to dominate what we're seeing right now, but there's no reason, for example, for an ad-supported free type of online video offering not to kind of emerge. Think about Spotify, what they're doing on the music side, the ability perhaps to convert some of these free users into paid subscribers. So in some, I think, there's a bunch of other themes that I can get into, but I just wanted to single out that. And what we hear from a lot of companies who covers the challenge of trying to monetize a lot of the viewing that's occurring outside of traditional platforms. Those companies realize that there's a lot of money being left on the table, and how do we kind of be able to capture this viewership and be able to monetize that? So I think that's really a challenge packages, DVR, VOD, etc. So expect to, see continued focus on that.
So one other point on
Go ahead.
over the top. I think there's an important distinction between over the top, I think, and a break from the pay TV ecosystem. TV everywhere is a pay TV ecosystem is also over the top, but it's not a big change to the ecosystem. I think what is a big change to the ecosystem is companies like Netflix, like Hulu Plus, like what NBC just announced yesterday, like what NBC, what ESPN announced with their over the top $100 world predictive package. That programmers are offering up packages of content that do go over the top. It may go direct to consumer or it may go to the distributor. But again, it's content that consumers can receive outside your content package or outside your dish package or cable. I think this is really the interesting thing to focus on. Can content companies maintain their favorable content they have in the big TV ecosystem, which is really fees and ad revenue, but then also try to capture sports networks or cutters and monetize those users as well through these additional or supplemental packages. Netflix has certainly proven to do that like this with content outside the TV ecosystem. And a lot of companies are experimenting. CBS is experimenting, NBC is experimenting, ESPN is experimenting. Remains to be seen how all of those settle. But I think it's now time for the companies to try because unlike 10, 20 years ago, it's now getting to be cost effective, technologically attainable for the companies to type in their own content, not have to lay fiber or lay copper down.
So you see, so it seems that you talk about the pay-TV providers and the content providers, but what about the social media providers? They ultimately create their own content, brought it over to top below.
Well, you have things different. So for social, Facebook has made a clear decision a long time ago that they don't want to be in the content licensing. They'd rather be the platform that content companies bring to their doorstep, like the NFL and their licensing package. So Facebook, Twitter, I think it's done the same. YouTube is a little bit different. They have paid for some content. Usually it's paid for UGC stars or YouTube paid for advances. They've not paid for what we consider content you get on YouTube packages, with the exception of maybe D-League for the NBA, but not so much. So it remains to be seen if the social companies have the appetite to pay real big money for content, but it remains to be seen.
But you do see a trend of brands becoming media companies, so they produce more content now, so that's another layer of things that I think 5 years ago was definitely not as much.
Yeah, original content creates stickiness. So if you think of what LinkedIn did by Carter and Pulse, providing its own content leads people to spend more time there. And so I think that you will see social media companies decide to spend money to develop original content because it's important for them to retain their audience. Today it's all about aggregating an audience. Once you have that audience, that's it. You've done it. So once you have the audience, though, you have to make sure you maintain that audience. And I think original content really is the way to do that, which is something that Netflix has been very successful at doing. And I love Netflix. Why do I love Netflix? Because it works, right? And once you experiment and you have users who like it and know that it works, they're going to continue to use it and go back to that content.
And Mark, we've seen a number of other transactions. We've seen Disney, Universal acquisition, the DreamWorks, awesome, Steve, a number of other transactions. Can you talk about those as well?
Sure. I mean, I think what you're seeing in those deals is a land grab for non-traditional programming. And so a lot of these deals, initially when I heard the price tags, it doesn't make sense and how they rationalize that. I think a lot of these deals relate to the fact that this is non-traditional programming. There's going to be several companies that actually have channels that work. Again, it works and you use it, you like it, you're going to continue to use it. I think it's important for big media companies to have a presence in non-traditional programming because if it does work,